And it's a very good day to our special guest on Absolutely Famous, former Warriors and Kiwi coach, a rugby league legend in Christchurch, Frank Endicott. Frank, lovely to talk to you, mate. How's things?
Very good, thanks, John. Enjoying the rugby league and, always enjoy the rugby league, but things are going well, mate.
Yeah, well, as a former coach of the Warriors, Frank, you'd be absolutely rapt the way the boys are going this year. I mean, that 48-18 win over the St George Illawarra Dragons in Wollongong last weekend was especially the second half, was outstanding.
Yeah, it was, and you'd say the Dragons aren't travelling that well at the moment. They got their problems, but looking at the Warriors' performance, it was absolutely first class. I mean, to go away and beat them over there, I think it's only the second time in since we started in 1995 that we've beaten them at Wollongong. So it was a really good effort. The most important or satisfying thing that I found about it, that it wasn't just one or two players, it was the whole team performing collectively, that's the main thing that I see coming out of this team at the moment, and you've got to give accolades to the coach for that.
Yeah, well, Andrew Webster, he's a little bit unheralded to some people, but he's a coach with he's served a fair apprenticeship, hasn't he, including a stint as assistant at Penrith.
Well, you're right. He's got no record as a first-grade coach, but he's been under some pretty good coaches. He's done a real good long apprenticeship, and that's what makes, to me, a top head coach. And he's proving it already. In his first stint, and we're not there yet. We've still got 10 or 12 games to go, but by gee, the way they're performing, it's certainly a lot better than the last few years.
Yeah, that's for sure. And he's a very level-headed man, isn't he? Like, he wasn't jumping up and down with complete joy after Saturday's win. He was quite critical of the error rate in the first half there.
Yeah, well, I've never met him, to be honest, but he speaks honestly, and I like the way he handles himself, the way he speaks. I've spoke to a coaching staff, Stacey Jones and a few others, and a couple of players, and he's well thought of there. He's well respected. So signs are good. The signs are good, if not this year, for the future. And I just hope it continues. That's all.
Yeah, I think we all do, us Kiwis, and they've got a really good leader, haven't they? And Tohu Harris, the former Melbourne Storm star, he certainly leads by example.
Well, he's a big unit, and for a guy his size, you might notice he goes into first receiver a lot now and sets a bit of play up rather than doing the straight out running. I suspect that they've worked that around the knee problem he has, because his knee is a bit dicky, and they just need to get him through every game. So they've changed his role, and I think it's actually suiting him.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought Adam Blake played really well, but a guy that's really impressed me is one of their imports this year, Dylan Walker.
Yeah, he's impressed me, and the second row of forward has also as new lads. They're Dylan Walker. I mean, when he was at Manly, I thought he was a liability, to be honest with you. He was giving penalties away. He looked as though he was playing with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But now he's gone to the Warriors, he's really changed his attitude, and he's becoming an asset rather than a liability. So, yeah, good on him. I hope he gets better and better, because he's certainly a talented player.
Yeah, it is wonderful to see Sean Johnson playing so well, combining there with Luke Metcalf in the halves. Sean just looks as though he's just loving what he's doing at the moment. He's playing brilliantly.
Couldn't agree more. You look at Sean and look at him over the last few years, he's a different bloke. And that's because he's living at home now with his family. His family means so much to Sean. And when he was in Australia over the COVID, it really took a toll on him. But now he's back at home, he's happy, he's got his family around him, and he's playing the best football he has for years and years. And he's the conductor of the team there. Everything's happening around Sean. His kicking game's brilliant. He's scoring tries most weeks, and he's sitting tries up and kicking goals. So he's playing his part in the team for sure.
Yeah. Who are a couple of the other backs in particular who have impressed you this year so far?
Well, the winger, not just because he scored 4 tries and an assist last week, Dallin Wataneza-Lesniak, I think that the way, in fact, the 2 wingers, Montoya also, the way they bring the ball up out of the 20 would be most probably the best of any team in the NRL. I mean, they run like props, but they actually run stronger.
Yeah.
And they got that speed. They do a lot of work. They don't just score tries. They do a lot of work, on the defensive side of things and taking the ball off their line, the hard work. So he's really impressed me. The other bloke that's impressed me is not a back, but a front rower, Eden Fanua-Blake. He's showing why he's up with the best props in the NRL. I mean, he's doing it every week. He's an enforcer. No one messes with him. He does the hard yards every week, and I think it all starts from the front row, and he's the front row that's making it work.
Well, that is definitely the engine room, isn't it? I mean, I just admire these tough buggers up front there week in, week out, run into mobile brick walls and just get up again and do it again.
Yeah, well, you do, because they enjoy it while they do it, but when they get to my age, they'll start getting a few H's degrees. It comes out later in your years, but who can say don't do it? You just love it, and they look as though they love it. And they got a big forward pack, that doesn't go backwards, and the little halfback's going good too. That's Metcalf. He's been around a couple of years. He's only young, but he's starting to mature as a player now. I think the more games he plays, the better he's going to get. So with him there and Sean's experience, I think they're working with each other very well. Yeah,
another guy, of course, has done really well is the Raiders. We got him off the Raiders, Chance, Nicole Klokstad. Brilliant.
Klokstad.
Yeah, four try assists, I think, on the weekend.
Yeah, well, he was going to be my next one. He's been one of the most consistent performers week after week. I really like him. I like his attitude. He's brave under the high ball. He brings the ball back good. He comes in, shines in for a try here and there. He's done well. I mean, he was originally at the Warriors and couldn't find a place in the team because of the back three going so well. So he went to Canberra Raiders. And when he went to Canberra Raiders, they ignited him into another player. He went another level. And now he's come back to the Warriors. He's maintaining that. He's looking great. He's one of our best players.
Yeah, he's going really well. Do you think the Warriors have got the depth, Frank, to go the whole way this year?
I'm not so sure where they have, but their injury rate, and I'm touching wood as I say this, has been pretty good. So I just hope that they get through the year having one of those light injury years. I mean, we all know that every coach, expects 15% of his squad to be injured every week. So they stay at that figure and not go beyond it, they'll be okay. But with the reserves playing now, and the juniors coming through with 3 teams, they might be used to being in the.
Yeah, it makes a hell of a difference. Obviously, with your backup teams.
Best.
Yeah.
Yep. We were becoming a real danger there, and they are again. So it's the proof of the pudding. If you haven't got development and pathways within your club, you're gone. You've got to buy your depth. So they're doing that now, and there will be some very good young players coming through the system.
Yeah. Isn't it wonderful to see Mount Smart just about chocker every week too? The fans are really getting behind the team.
Oh, it's fantastic, and I'm pleased for the fans because they've done it hard over the last decade or so, and now they're starting. And I look at the games coming up. Just correct me if I'm wrong. I think they got South this week at home.
Yeah.
They got Eels away, and then they got 2 more home games in the Sharks and the Raiders. So 3 of their next 4 games, I think, are at home. So they're going to be spoiled up there with good teams coming over and seeing the Warriors perform in front of them.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. Well, they're only 2 points off the top. I think they're in 4th at the moment, which is brilliant. And we just hope that continues.
Well, absolutely. I think they're 5th, actually, but you're right. They're only 2 points away from the top. So You know, as long as they keep grafting away, they're not going to win every game. But if they win, you know, more than 50% of their games going through, they'll be there at the end.
Yeah.
So,
Frank,
really exciting.
Yeah. Frank, what about the travel factor? I mean, when you coach the Warriors, is it a factor that the boys virtually every second week over the season have to travel across the Tasman? That must have some effect. Negative effect.
Well, it used to have. When we first started under John Mooney and then myself, it was a problem because we didn't really know how to handle it. We tried everything, and believe me, everything. And now they've been doing it for so many years, and having that COVID time in Australia, I think they all got used to it. In fact, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but their away record is better than their home one, I think. So they're starting to understand what it takes now, and whatever they're doing is working. So keep at it.
Yeah, long may that continue. And of course, we're right in the middle of the state of origin. Fantastic Queensland side this year, and I've got to say, Billy Slater, the coach, is emerging as a real coaching star. Very intelligent man. What do you think of him, Frank?
Well, to be honest with you, I couldn't be more impressed with Billy Slater. Not just because of his results, but because of the way he handles himself with the media, with the team. The one good thing about Billy Slater, he's smart. He's a smart bloke. And what he's done, when he employed his staff, he goes straight to Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's, you know, two of the best players I've ever had. And their input, even though he's the boss, the input of those two, especially Cameron Smith. I mean, Cameron Smith's as smart as they get. And see him talking to the team. I mean, that's going to bring the best out of the players. And you talk about passion and belief. Gee, it's embedded into these Queenslanders. It's unbelievable, really, what they're doing. To beat New South Wales 32-6, 6 tries to 1 was in a game that New South Wales had to win. I thought really was, it just topped it off for them. I thought it was a great effort.
Yeah, well, the Queensland have just got an environment, haven't they? It's just so close. They play so tough for each other, and it probably comes back from the old siege days when they used to get sort of shat on by New South Wales when it came to selection before it really ignited in the 80s.
Oh, absolutely. It's come through over a series of years. I remember when Billy Moore was coming out of the tunnel yelling Queensland, and you could just see it in their faces. You know, I mean, you know, have you ever been in a dressing room where a team's got passion and their absolute belief in themselves? It's great to see, and you see it in this Queensland team every time they take the field. You know, at times I've seen their teams on paper look a long or a distant second to New South Wales, but they do the job. They've just got this thing that they've been trod on for years and years and years by the New South Wales players that they think they got something to prove, and they don't have to now. They've done it. Yeah,
well, they got a brilliant former Warrior in there too, of course, Reece Walsh. I mean, how good is Reece? He's lightning fast, isn't he?
Well, he's just one of those special players who can turn games. I'll tell you what, for a young fella with he hadn't had a lot of experience. He's brilliant, but he's so cocky about it. He's just got to keep his feet on the ground. But he can swing aside, and I mean, you look at the coach Billy Slater. He could have gone Kalen Ponga. He didn't. He went for the young fella, so he had faith in him. And he's repaying that faith already. In fact, they're very similar players, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah, just the sheer paces. And also, I notice Walsh, when he does run, he attracts 2 or 3 defenders and gets his arm through the tackle and the offload, and that's what does the damage.
Oh, yeah, it does. And the thing is, he tries things. I mean, you're always going to get a mistake out of a guy like Reece Walsh. But you can put up with that one mistake when he does 5 or 6 brilliant things that turn the game for you. When he's powerful. I mean, they made it clear that they were going to have a crack at him in game 1, and they had done a crack at him in game 2. But he stood up to it. He's brave. He's confident. He's cocky. But at the end of the day, he can do the job. And I like him. I think he's one of those players that you pay money to go and watch.
Yeah, totally. And another guy who, no doubt, you're impressed with, this skipper, Daly Cherry Evans. What a game he had in game 2.
I thought he was the standout in game 2. Along with Reece Walsh. Cherry Evans, I think he epitomised this game performance on the way he run, who was it, centre down, wasn't it?
Yep,
Crichton,
you did too.
I think, yeah.
It was Crichton, I think.
He ran him down and picked, Crichton, you would normally beat him in a straight run every day of the week, but he was that determined, he just didn't give up. And that showed me, just how good a player he is. And he's had a few quiet games for Manly this year, but when it comes to the big stuff, he puts his hand up. And to me, he was the player of the match. Yeah,
well, you mentioned that brilliant try-saving tackle. I think he got up, and from the next play, he sparked a try down the other end for Queensland.
Yeah, that's the bloke. That's the bloke he is. He just never gives up, and you can see the passion in his face. You can see that from the time he ran out on the paddock. He's really up with the best of them on his day, David Cherry Evans.
Yeah. So how do you see the last game going, the third game in the series? I mean, I don't know about dead rubbers. I think the competition's still going to be there. I don't think anyone's going to back off because it's 2-0.
Well, no, there's never a dead rubber in State of Origin, never, or a Test series. You play to win those games regardless, and you'd rather go down 2-1 than 3-0. I can't see Queensland getting beat, to be honest, the way they've got this team going. I think the New South Wales selectors must be wondering if they made the right call in the halves, picking Moses and leaving Nico Hines completely out of the squad. I think that's going to be an interesting selection. Do they stick with what they got? I don't believe they can, getting thrashed like that, and they've lost 2 out of 2. I think and I believe that Nico Hines will come into the halves, and if they don't, there's something wrong. He deserves a shot. He was there in game 1. Come on, he couldn't do anything. He came on too late. But, give him a go and see. It might just be the antidote needed.
No pressure.
I think he can take the pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds, John.
Yeah, you did right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Frank, that's great, mate. Speaking of diamonds, you're one of those. I don't know all the pressure you must have. How did you cope with it as a coach? Did you hang on every sort of point? How did you deal with that?
Oh, I played every point with the players for sure. I was in it with them, but in all honesty, John, pressure. Everyone has pressure at that level, of course, but I handled it well because I actually loved it. I actually enjoyed the contest and the game.
Yeah.
Especially playing Australia and Great Britain or England. Those big ones. They were the ones, and it brings the best out of you. I enjoyed every minute of it.
I'm sure you got some fantastic memories. Frank, thank you so much for being our guest on Absolutely Famous. Very much appreciated, and I hope your recent surgery is healing well on the knee.
Yep. Thank you very much, John. Yeah, 75 years old now, only a boy.
Yeah. Still a lot of life left in you yet, Frank.
Yeah.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
You take care, mate.
Cheers, Frank.